Hey there, and welcome back to Supporting Physician Spouses. I'm Kendra.
And I'm Katie. We are so glad you are here with us today. In the last episode, we started off this 3-part series talking about emotional self-care.
And today we're diving into social self-care, not the kind that requires a packed calendar or a big friend group, but the kind that nurtures you at your core, the kind that makes space for real connection with people who see you, sit with you, and support you in both laughter and silence.
As physician spouses, we know how hard it can be to build and keep those connections with relocations, packed schedules, and limited energy. Today we're diving into what meaningful social support really looks like, why it matters, and how to cultivate it even when it feels hard or even impossible.
We'll talk about the 4 essential types of social support: emotional, instrumental, informational, and appraisal. And we'll reflect on how building a strong web of connection is one of the greatest forms of self-care we can give ourselves and our families.
Whether you're feeling isolated or just ready to deepen the friendships you have, this conversation is for you. Let's get into it.
All right, let's move on. We're going to talk about social self-care. And Katie already touched a little bit on this, but this is where we're going to kind of go into it a little bit deeper. Having social self-care isn't really about having a big social circle as much as it is about having meaningful connection with maybe 1 or 2 people who truly see you, who you can laugh with, you can cry with, or you can sit in silence with.
Yeah, this is one of the most divine ventures and challenges in the journey. Getting up and moving every couple years. We've moved every 2 years for the last 6. These type of relationships take time to foster.
Physician spouses, we often can feel isolated and like we don't have a community or a social network because there's a couple of things that are involved in having good, close friendships. Some of them are proximity and time, and another is energy. And so you may be proximally close to somebody. It might be the right time, but you might not have the energy. And at least for me, that has always usually been my case, is that I don't have the energy. And this is why we really wanted to start with the physical self-care foundations first, the ones that we did in episodes 3 and 4, to really help everyone recognize that your energy does have a lot to do with your emotional, your social, and your spiritual care. So like you said, between relocations, weird schedules, and just the emotional overload, it's really easy to drift away from friends. And then you feel like by the time you finally have them, it's time for you to go. And so that absolutely is difficult. I've done a lot of flying recently, and I've been reading the book, The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. And this is the 3 things that she said: the proximity, timing, and energy. And I do have a question for you again. This is me again, the Katie and Kendra trivia. How many hours do you think you need to spend with a person to have a casual relationship with them?
This is a good question because it depends if kids are in tow or not.
Okay.
Because I think we've all been there where you're at a park with someone who you're like, whoa, this is a really interesting person. I want to get to know them, but you're interrupted every couple minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I think at least 6 months.
Okay. We had to put it in hours.
Oh, okay.
So if you had
Hours.
to, sorry, I should have phrased that at the beginning. Katie, how many
How many
hours
hours?
do you
Okay.
think you need to spend with a person to develop a casual friendship?
10?
Okay.
Oh, wait,
And then
casual?
how about, yeah.
Casual.
So that's not an
Oh,
acquaintance.
so casual meaning like we exchange numbers, maybe when we want to get together again.
I am probably phrasing this question
I think
wrong.
I'm just thinking, I'm like thinking about it too hard. It's so funny.
You'll find out why. So, this is in her book, The Let Them Theory. She says,
Okay.
according to a University of Kansas study, to become a casual friend, you have to spend 74 hours with someone.
Hmm.
And to become a close friend, you have to spend over 200 hours.
Wow.
So when you think about moving every 2 years, is it possible to spend that much time with somebody to actually develop those types of friendships? And again, I think this is why it's somewhat difficult for those of us who are married to physicians is first, energy wise, maybe we don't have the energy to do it because spending that much time requires a significant investment of energy. Like, where
Mm-hmm.
am I going to find 200 hours to develop a close friendship with somebody? But then again, as I've looked through my life and I look at my close friendships, it's like, yeah, I think we probably have spent close to that. I think there are some shortcuts. You mentioned if you already have like a baseline common ground, like if you're meeting another physician spouse, that type of immediate connection shaves off several hours, if not, divides them in half.
Right.
And so you could almost say, like, for everything that we have in common, maybe you're part of the same church congregation, maybe you're part of the same school group with your kids. I think that probably does influence the number of
Yeah.
hours, but it doesn't take away from the fact that it does take time to develop those friendships. And it's hard to be doing that over and over. So
Yeah.
all that to say, I don't want anyone to be discouraged by the amount of time it takes and give up. That's certainly not the point at all, because I would count you as one of my close friends now, Katie, and I don't know that we've spent 200 hours yet.
Mm-hmm.
By the time this podcast airs, maybe.
We'll add it up, guys.
Yeah, we'll add it all up.
But I will say there's got to be like a confounding factor of how vulnerable you are with that person, right? Like, are you
Absolutely.
willing to go deep and mutually share? Because once you do that with people, at least for me, I'm like, no, you're my close friend. Like, I would share anything with
Hmm.
you, you know?
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
really interesting to think of that time. And then I'm like, how much time do I spend with my spouse? Like, where does that add up? Is that on the 74 to 200 hours continuum?
Well, let's hope you got 200 hours maybe before you got married, or at least
Yeah,
close.
yeah, for sure.
Close to it. But that's something I'm going to remember for my daughters who are, of dating age now. It's like, no, 200 hours. We're not making any major decisions until you've spent 200 hours together.
Uh, so good.
All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about the different types of relationships that every physician family needs. Well, you're going to find out a lot about the books that I read because I'm going to tell you about another book. This was from the Rabbit Effect book. And the subtitle is Live Longer, Happier, and Healthier with the Groundbreaking Science of Kindness. In that book, the author identifies these different types of social support that we need. And so we're going to go through some of those, and then I'd like to hear your thoughts and comments on each of these. Is that okay, Katie?
Yes, but you piggyback. I want to hear your answers too.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to tell you what the four are, and then we can have
Okay.
conversations about them. So,
Okay.
the first kind of support that we need in the form of social support is emotional. So, this would be the provision of care, love, trust, and empathy. And this type of support is the most abundant and far outnumbers all other types of support. This type of support often involves physical comfort, such as hugs or pats on the back, as well as listening and empathizing. And so you probably recognize this type of emotional support in your close family and friends, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Would you say that those people fill that for you?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. I know in my life, I've certainly had people like that. And as I've gone through, like reading back through my journals as far as friendships go, I've always had like one person who was this person for me at every point in my life. They come in, they leave, or I leave or something, but there's always somebody who then steps in and fulfills that need for me. So I've been very fortunate in that respect.
Yeah, I've loved this type of friendship. This has gone so much richer with age. There's something about just wisdom with age that really deepens these types of friendships that I'm so grateful for.
I would second that. You've got so much to look forward to.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on to the next type. This is instrumental support. This includes providing actual goods and services. So, someone who offers you tangible support might bring you dinner when you're sick, or assist with transportation when your car breaks down, or in a number of other ways, help you deal with an immediate need. And so I always think of like, who's my emergency contact? Or
Mm-hmm.
if my car were to break down, who is the person that I would call? And hopefully everybody has like that person who they can count on to do like this transaction of this is something I need. I know you can provide it and are willing to provide it.
Yes, I have those people. In fact, I reached out to in a group text if anyone knew the best place to get cheesecake in town. And one of my closest friends is like, I'll make it for you today. I said, no way. And she's like, honestly, like, I kind of have the energy for like this creative project. Like, let's do that. So it's my spouse's birthday coming up. So super kind.
Very
Is
nice.
that cool?
Okay, I love that you have a ready example. All right, let's talk about the next type of social support, and that's informational support. And this is providing information or advice to another in time of need. Those offering informational support do so in the form of advice giving or in gathering and sharing information. Sources of this form of support are often professionals, healthcare providers, lawyers, accountants, therapists, coaches, people like that. So I know you have one of those, but do you feel like you have informational support in your life?
um, that's interesting. Well, as you were talking, I was thinking about how I kind of like to be this person for other people, like
Ah,
kind of taking on this mentorship role. This is kind of how I approach my teaching. Like when I'm teaching university students, um, I treat it more as I'm just a couple steps ahead of you in my knowledge, but I want to help you get to like and help you reach your goals. So I don't know if that falls within the same vein as what you're talking about, but interesting to ponder on how many of those are in my own
yeah.
life.
Yeah, like if you had a financial question, do you have somebody that you could ask? If there's a legal question that comes up, do you have somebody in your network that you can reach out to? Um,
Yeah.
like real estate agents. I mean, somebody who has a skill set or a set of expertise that you don't possess that you need to
Mm-hmm.
borrow from.
Yeah. Yeah. Will you call these friends or no? Just people in your life.
Social support.
Social support. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And if I don't have them, I know how to seek them out.
Okay. All right. Here, this is the last form of social support, and it's called appraisal. And this is closely related to informational support. It involves communicating information that is relevant in self evaluation situations. So, this type of social support expresses confidence or encouragement and fulfills self esteem needs.
Hmm. This is like that coach, right? Kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. It could be.
Hmm. A parent. I think what that's who I think of my own
Yeah.
parents feeling that.
Sometimes. Yeah.
My
I think so.
spouse.
Well, we hope so. We'll be honest there. I'm thinking about the example or the experience that you shared, getting up in front of a congregation and being very vulnerable and feeling like you did a really good job and yet not feeling the validation, but wanting it.
Mm.
And so there are sometimes I know that I'm validation seeking and I will be like, just tell me I'm doing a good job. Like, do you have somebody in your life who can give you that encouragement, who can be
Mm.
that, like, yes, I validate your experience, I validate the effort and energy that you're putting forward? Yeah, because it's really unlikely that one person can do all of these things for you.
Mm.
It's really difficult for our spouse to be the one who takes like the lead position in each four of these areas. And that's one of the reasons why it's important that we have a strong social support system so that if that one person that we rely on isn't available, we have other means of having those needs fulfilled.
I actually love when I have reached out, and now that I have this web of friendship all over the country, really, it does feel good. Like my spouse is so grateful that there are people around who love me and can take care of me.
When you think about like a family unit and its health and its ability to be resilient, how much nicer for your husband and my husband to know that it's not them. Like if they're not available,
Mm.
that you're completely lost and without a rudder and have nobody to help you. I remember in residency, my husband has shared this with lots of people. I'm like, oh, yeah, I kind of remember that. He was doing an away rotation in Chicago, and I was about 3 hours away. And I don't remember if I was pregnant or I just had a baby, but I was having pain and I couldn't find a reason for this pain, but it was excruciating. And I'm like, who I want to come and help me, who I want to be there for me, can't be there. And he still remembers, 15 years later, he's like, I wanted to be there so bad. I could not be there. And just that desire to want to leave whatever you're doing and to go and help the person that you love, but not being able to. And yet also feeling comforted by the fact that even though he isn't available, there was somebody that we could call on who loves us and is concerned for us and wants to help us, who isn't a family member either in this new place that we've only been for a couple of years. It's so important to have a diverse and a wide social system when you're a physician family, because you need all sorts of things that you don't even recognize you need until the person you usually rely on for that isn't there, or you've moved to a new place and have to start building all of that all over.
Yeah, I love that. It's almost like this web of strength that we can get from all types of people. We can get really deep of like, that's why we're all given different talents. And you can show up for people in beautiful ways for just being who you are and for asking what you need. This reminds me of my older brother's graduation commencement from college. Cory Booker gave this talk called The Conspiracy of Love. And he reminded the graduates that they are the product of those who have loved them, and to know that they get their strength from those that have helped build them up for all these years. And I haven't forgotten that. And I lean on people a lot. Um, I had a child going through a really hard time just about a year ago, and I asked our family, which is pretty widespread, if they would just send a video of encouragement to him. And I shared it with him, and it didn't really hit. I think just his age was like, oh, fun to hear from people. But I felt so grateful that um, the mantle to help my child doesn't all fall on me. It's a shared responsibility amongst many.
That's beautiful.
Kendra, do we have any last minute tips for our listeners?
My one tip would be for everybody to get really good about asking for help, learning how to assert yourself, to either take care of it yourself if you are able to, or to ask for what you need from the person who's able to fulfill that need. I'll give you just a quick example. Asking my husband to fix my car, he's not the right person to ask to fix it because he's not a mechanic. And so making sure we're asking the right person for the need that we're trying to fill and have solved. You want to ask a mechanic about things that are with your car. He's a great person to talk to if you have other problems. Earlier this month, I was on a quick girls trip with some of my dear friends. And one of the gals, her husband travels a lot for work during the week. And we were kind of commiserating, like, oh, we have similar lifestyles as far as being independent and on our own a lot. And I realized during that conversation that I don't ask for help a lot of time because it just doesn't even occur to me that someone would help me, because I've just always had to figure it out on my own. But learning to ask for help is a valuable skill, especially as we talk about being vulnerable and creating connection with other people and forming close friendships. Like, one of the ways we do that is by serving. That puts us in proximity and timing, and it requires some energy. I can kind of identify that lack of energy piece has always been the thing that's kept me from doing more, from asking for help, because asking requires energy and then receiving requires energy. And I'm just going to preserve my energy. It'll just be easier that way.
Yeah. And I know that this is hard. I've been in places where finally I ask for help, but it's when I'm like, I should have asked for help like maybe 2 weeks prior. And
Yep.
the letdown when no one can help suddenly is like, I cannot do this, but somehow we do. But I've also had experiences where people have asked, like, okay, you're moving. How can we help you? And I just say yes, even though I'm like, well, we kind of have family close. Like, it'll work out, you know? But as I let people in, all of a sudden this allowed for my last day living in this neighborhood, probably 30 women in different shifts coming in to help with cleaning, packing, or finalizing something. And I think that left this group of ladies with a gift because they realized, wow, we are strong in number, right? Like, look how much we accomplished and served a fellow friend. And so I didn't interpret that at all as weakness, but it was a beautiful moment for me to thank them and have an individual moment of saying goodbye to each of these people, but also
Hmm.
a gift that they got to continue on and their in their group as I moved on.
I love everything that you have shared today, Katie. I think those really personal moments are the best teachers.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks so much for joining us today as we explored the importance of social self care and the real, sometimes challenging work of building and maintaining meaningful connection.
We hope this episode reminded you that you're not alone and that your circle doesn't have to be big to be powerful. A few people who see you and show up for you can make all the difference.
And next time, we're diving into spiritual self care. We'll talk about cultivating stillness, creating space for meditation, and embracing those quiet, awe-filled moments that reconnect us to something deeper.
Until then, we hope you find small ways to care for yourself and maybe even reach out to someone who fills one of those social support roles in your life.
You are part of a quiet, powerful community, and we're so glad you're here.